Every night at 2:34 a.m., my dog starts barking at something in the hallway. At first, I thought it was nothing, maybe a raccoon outside or the settling of the old pipes in my house. But the barking kept happening every night. Same time, same low growl, rising into a frantic series of barks directed at the hallway just outside my bedroom. It was always the hallway. I live alone, aside from my dog, Max, a 3-year-old black lab with a heart of gold and the instincts of a bloodhound. He's never been a nervous dog. Loud noises don't faze him. He doesn't spook at shadows. But at 2:34 a.m., every single night for the last 2 weeks, Max has positioned himself at the edge of my bed, ears up, eyes locked on the hallway, body trembling as he growls deep in his throat. It only ever happens once per night, and only ever at 2:34. The first few nights, I would get up and walk into the hallway, turn on the lights, and look around. Nothing. No windows open, no sounds from outside, just empty space and the soft hum of the central air. I chalked it up to something benign, but then, last Thursday, something changed. That night, I'd had a few drinks. I'd stayed up late watching an old horror movie, something cheesy from the 80s that had lost its edge over the years. I turned in around 1:30, buzzed and relaxed. At 2:34, Max barked again, but this time I didn't immediately get up. I stayed in bed, staring at the dark outline of him beside me, silhouetted by the faint glow of the nightlight I keep in the hallway. He stood rigid, growling, barking. Suddenly, he whimpered. It wasn't a scared whimper, more like confusion, like he didn't know whether to bark or run. I got out of bed and walked toward the hallway. It was colder than usual. My bare feet touched the hardwood floor, and I immediately felt a draft, but I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. The windows were locked. The air wasn't on. I turned on the light. Nothing. Just the same narrow hallway leading to the bathroom and guest room. Max wouldn't follow me. He sat by the bed, growling. I checked both rooms, then the doors and windows again. Still nothing. I stood there for a moment, listening. Then I heard it. A faint creaking sound, not like the floorboards, but higher up, like something moving in the attic. I froze. The attic is directly above the hallway. The next morning, I climbed up into the attic to check things out. There was nothing unusual. A few boxes of old keepsakes, some insulation, a dusty floor. No sign of animals, no drafts, no loose boards. I shrugged it off. But Max didn't. He kept up his nightly ritual, and then I started noticing things that made my skin crawl. It started with my closet door. I always leave it slightly ajar. It sticks when you try to close it fully, so I leave it cracked open. But one morning, I woke up to find it wide open. I didn't remember opening it. Another night, I found it fully shut. Then, the TV turned on in the living room at 2:34 a.m. The remote was on the coffee table. The channel was static. No sound, just the image, black and white snow fuzzing across the screen. I stood in the doorway of my room, looking at it. Max barked again, this time louder, more frantic. I turned it off and unplugged the TV. By the time a full week had passed, I was sleeping with the hallway light on. Max still barked at 2:34 every night without fail. His hackles would rise, his growl would deepen, and he'd stare. Not at the whole hallway anymore, but one specific spot at the very end, where the light didn't fully reach. I started leaving my phone's camera app open on my nightstand, thinking maybe I'd catch something. I never did. until I checked the security cameras. I live in a small one-story house, but after a break-in years ago, I installed a home security system. It records 24/7. I rarely ever look at the footage unless something sets off the alerts. Last Saturday night, I couldn't sleep. Max had barked, just like always, but louder than usual. I'd gotten out of bed with a racing heart, and I swear I heard something breathing, not in the hallway, behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Max was already hiding under the bed. I spent the rest of the night in the living room with the lights on. The next day, I checked the footage from my hallway camera. It was time-stamped 2:34 a.m. exactly, and there I was, standing at the end of the hallway. I stared at the footage for hours. The figure looked exactly like me. Same build, same pajamas, same messy hair, but it was just standing there, perfectly still, watching the camera, watching me. I scrubbed back further. 2:33:50, nothing. 2:33:55, nothing. 2:34 a.m. Suddenly, there, just appeared. I checked every camera angle. The figure never walked in from any other room, never emerged from the bathroom. It was just there one moment, gone the next. It stood for 20 seconds, then vanished at 2:34:20. I checked the bedroom footage. I was still asleep in bed. The figure wasn't me. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? I tried to convince myself it was a glitch, a video artifact, or some kind of playback error. But the feeling in my gut told me otherwise. I could feel something wrong in the house. The air felt heavier. Max refused to go into the hallway now, even during the day. 2 nights later, it escalated. I woke up at 2:34 a.m. before Max even started barking. I sat upright in bed, heart pounding, already sweating. Something had pulled me from sleep. There was a whispering sound coming from the hallway. Not in English, not in any language I recognized. It was soft, almost like a chant, the sound of dry paper sliding across itself. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and stood up. Max growled low, almost a whimper now. I walked slowly toward the hallway. The light from my phone hit the far wall. Nothing there. I stepped forward. The whispering stopped. Then, a second set of footsteps ran behind me across the hardwood floor of the living room. I turned around, flashlight swinging wildly. Max was gone. I found him hiding in the bathtub, shivering. I called a friend the next day, Angela, someone I trust. She's always been a bit into paranormal stuff, and honestly, I thought she might laugh at me, but instead, she just got quiet. "Do you know about the threshold rule?" she asked. I said no. It's an old superstition. Some cultures believe that doppelgangers, or mimics, can't come inside unless you invite them past a threshold, like a doorway or your consciousness. They can appear near you, but not enter unless you let them. I asked what that meant in my case. You're seeing it in your hallway, right at the edge of your bedroom, right where the light stops. That night, I left all the lights on. It didn't matter. At 2:34 a.m., Max barked, and this time, I didn't get up. I grabbed my phone and opened the live feed from the hallway camera. It loaded, and there I was, again, standing at the end of the hallway. Only this time, I wasn't still. The figure slowly raised one hand and pointed toward the camera, toward me. Then it took one slow step forward. Max leapt off the bed and ran to the corner, barking like mad. The camera feed glitched for a second, just a single flicker, and then the figure was gone. but I heard the closet door creak open behind me. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I moved a chair in front of the closet. Max wouldn't come back into the bedroom. The next morning, I found footprints in the dust inside the attic. Fresh ones, barefoot, human. I don't go up there anymore. It's been 3 days since then. Every night at 2:34, Max still barks, but now he refuses to even look at the hallway. He stares at me. I caught him growling at me when I was brushing my teeth, tail between his legs, head low. He wouldn't let me near him, like he didn't trust me anymore, or like he thought I wasn't really me. Last night, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the bathroom mirror. For a split second, it didn't match my movement. I turned to leave, but the reflection didn't move. It stayed still, staring, smiling. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know what it wants, but something is wearing my face, and it's getting closer. I've stopped watching the security footage. I unplugged the cameras. I threw out the mirror. Max won't sleep in the same room anymore. I started locking my bedroom door, but last night, I woke up to the sound of it unlocking. The doorknob turned slowly. I held my breath, frozen. Then I heard a soft voice whisper my name, my exact voice. "Hey, it's me." Max didn't bark this time. He just cried. Tonight's my last night in this house. I've packed everything I can. I don't care about selling it. I'm leaving at sunrise. But right now, it's 2:31 a.m. Max is already whimpering, and I can hear footsteps in the hallway. 2 sets. One of them is mine. If you're reading this, check your cameras. And if your dog ever starts barking at 2:34 a.m., don't look, don't answer, and whatever you do, don't follow yourself.